Yes, 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 my beautiful people, all about love. Microphone check 1, 2. I am here doing what I would say, the most important part of my work, the name reading, is actually connecting with the humans who watch the videos. Because watching videos and sharing videos is cool, but you see, we're in trouble. And it's called, we have to unite, like the United States is so-called, and the United Kingdom, in which the Freemasons, we'll keep it simple, the Illuminati, and the government, I'm not mad at them. Once again, it's the pedestrians that must unite and talk to each other. So, do you want to say your name, my brother, how you found me, and you want to share some of your interesting connections to my recent videos?
Yeah, no problem. And I'll try to keep certain things pretty precise because I'm known to talk a lot, and I know you got limited time. So I saw you, through Santos on your Father's Day video. That one was the first one that I watched, and it hit me right away. It was pretty much like an instant connection. I've seen every video that you came out with so far after that one, and I have been watching some of your past videos to get a little more updated on some of your other information. But as far as like your last video, you literally touched some things that I can say are in real time tapping into some of the things I'm going through directly in my life. As far as the fireworks go, last year was my first year being terrified of what was going on. I'm from California. We moved from the East Coast in 2010, and I ended up getting a home out there with 10 acres, started doing some cannabis farming. We experienced everything, man, from the highs to the lows, and I can just tell you that out there I didn't really notice as much about what was going on because, I remember fond memories of being a kid with fireworks, but in recent years, the past 2 years, it literally gives me the biggest anxiety out of anything because I've had house issues ever since leaving that. We sold that home. We left literally a month or two before the pandemic began. And we were living in an area where there was fire danger, so fireworks really were kind of shunned upon. But in the East Coast, everybody's having such a good time with these things. I had in one of the first rentals that we got, and it was pretty much a panic rental that we needed to get, that we paid money in advance. And I've been dealing with landlords and some of their schemes and the different things that they do that, even though they're harming people, are pretty much happening on a daily basis. And we had sewage gas that was leaking out of a pipe in the basement, a gray water tank. And I was literally in the middle of fighting them on the lease and trying to get out, really having nowhere else to go because it was at the height of the pandemic where most people just, even family members, they didn't want you coming over with your 3 kids and your partner. And there was the fireworks, and it literally turned into a night where I couldn't open up windows, the temperatures were hot, you couldn't do anything about it, and I was surrounded by, I'm talking like the thickest clouds of smoke that I've ever seen. It looked like a war zone, and we were breathing sewage gas on top of it all. So between that and your JC connection on the last one, especially with Jim Carrey, I went through something in 2003 that I really can't describe to many people. As soon as the words start coming out of my mouth, it dilutes the experience. I connected with the number 23 on the night going into 2003 when I was 23 and a half years old, looking at the flower of life shape, where it completely explained to my brain that Genesis in the Bible was describing that pattern. And I was reading a book by a guy called Bob Frizzle, and he was describing the workshops that he went to from Drunvalo Melchizedek. Are you familiar with him?
No. But can I actually, can I add something really quickly before I forget?
Absolutely.
It's going to blow your mind. You said 23?
Yes.
Now watch me cook. 2 and 3 is 5. Now, your birth name, Jason Arthur Caitlin, or Catlin, equals 77 is 14. 1 and 4 is 5. JHE is 185, my birth name. 14 for 5. And I'm going to show a receipt. Yesterday, a customer bought 2 peaches. 2 peaches. And I had to weigh them as a cashier. And the number 185 appeared. So I'm showing the screen. 185 is 14 for 5. It was a Cancer. Interesting. So I just wanted to add that in. That's quite awesome. Yes or no?
Oh yeah, and it's also that, because the video that you just did is touching on this month, the July month, which is when I was born. And if you actually look at July too, if you start with July and then go August, September, October, November, it spells my name, Jason. So there's so many different things too. Like when it comes to Jim Carrey, I experienced this number 23 phenomenon before that movie came out, and I have it tattooed on my arms. I became JC23 that night. That was my manifestation of connection to spirit and numerology. But the connections went on and on. Like to some people, they'll be like, "Oh, that's a movie." But on that night, I realized that my parents were both born on the 23rd. That there was 2012, which I was reading and totally looking towards in the future, because I was studying Mayan prophecy, and I was staring at the 2012, and it was a 2 with a 0 with a 1 2, so it added to 23 with the 0 being a spacing, and then the number 23 with the chromosomes and the 23 degrees tilt of the supposed Earth, and just bunches of things were happening. I went to the store and I bought a magazine, and I opened up to the first page, and it was Michael Jordan with his 6 championship rings, which I just looked at the flower, which it was done in 6 moves. On the 7th day it was rest. So that it literally was speaking to me. And
yeah. May I add one more thing?
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off. 2012 also equals 5, dude. So let me cook now, because you and I are on a very high... We're sparking. So this is great that I've allowed the name reader to start off with the connections. That's the whole point why I do it. I don't do it to be better or more unique than someone else. I do it to connect. So now I'm going to ask some questions to kind of mix in with what you were just saying. So 77 is 14 and 5. In the tarot, it's Mars, Aries, Jupiter, and Taurus. And I am a Taurus. But it also relates to Leo. Now Jupiter is the father in etymology. So we have a lot of father figure issues. I did not have a father. My father was a rolling stone, let's just say, but my mom was abusive and kind of forced him to be a rolling stone. So let's just keep it simple. Do you have any issues with male role models? The number 77, does that ring any bells for maybe an elder, someone older? Or it could be the number, go ahead, yeah.
I don't know about the number, because my father passed away, and absolutely, man. I mean, when my mom and dad split up, I was 10 years old. There was a super disconnect with my dad. I mean, my dad was going through his own things, and he just wasn't able to really be there for me. I was actually his 4th child, and he had a separation with his 1st and 2nd wife. So my mother was basically super there for me during those periods, and it was just something that she couldn't take anymore, so they had to split. But as far as, like, you know, having that role of a dad being in my life, that's literally exactly what it was, is that he just wasn't able to really do that for me at that
So
point.
I'm going to, since we're 8 minutes in, I'm going to say this. I believe that you're supposed to possibly help be a big brother to people who didn't have a father figure, literally. Like, a lot of men, and even women, who haven't had that, let's just say, alpha, balanced alpha energy, they end up, let's just say, missing a piece in their heart, and they end up growing up making choices they don't understand why, and mistakes, which is why we need a guide, someone to guide us. So I believe that you'd be a good role model for men, especially, who are suffering the lack of a male vitamin. Does that make sense to you?
For sure.
Cool. Awesome. And also, anything with cancer?
As far as the disease?
Yeah. Rolling around.
Maybe in my own body. I mean, I've been trying to figure out what's been happening with me, and I can just say that, you know, between the conscious evolution that I'm going through and the exposure to everything, I mean, I've been to doctors to have things looked at, and there's, like, no real answer to why certain things are the way that they are in me. And I would say that eventually that's going to be the way it is, because I look at the system as, like, you know, you're never going to be able to figure things out until you're terminal, because I can almost prove that with what I've been going through. Even my kids, there's things that they have going on. We've been exposed to things that are inside homes, you know, slow gas leaks, sewage gas, mold, you know, all the different things. So I'm just a proponent of the fact that I have to do it on my own. I mean, the meat thing really hit me hard because I am transitioning. I'm trying to get to the point where I don't eat meat anymore because I have chronic stomach issues as well.
Okay, so let me just chime in really quickly about that. You want to get an enema flush, bro. Enema kit right away. Enema kit. It's going to be really hard.
What about other than the coffee one? Is there one that's suggested?
Yes, your morning urine. Put your morning urine in your enema kit. You can drink that. Put it on your head, your body parts, and you flush out your parasites, brother. Your parasites are what's making you addicted and still stuck on eating the meat. So
Leota Machida drinks his morning urine.
Yeah.
The UFC fighter.
Yeah, dude. Of course, man. They understand that they're slowly waking up. It is the elixir. It is the philosopher's stone, they call it, right? It's the morning star, for God's sake, in etymology. Your phosphorus, people watching this, it's important. It means the morning star. Not morning out of depressed, I'm mourning death. Morning out of I rise up to prepare for death when the sun sets. So I'm going to just quickly jump in because we're at 11 minutes. I want to just mention some things about your number 5 in the tarot. It is personal freedom. It is individualism, non-attachment. Do you have any attachment issues, relationship issues, breaking up, making up, custody issues? Are you a father? Are you having okay rhythms with your lovers?
No, I'm not having a good rhythm, and without getting too personal, yes, all of that. Pretty much at this point, the whole thing you just touched on with the father thing, it's like I lack love and compassion because of what happened. I have very little love and compassion for humanity, but it's odd because I do have it for animals, yet I eat animals. So
thank you for being honest.
That's kind of where I'm at, is that like with my cats that I grew up with, because I grew up with cats, they were the closest thing that I could feel the same way that I felt with the love that I had with my mother, when I was a child.
Yeah.
And, it'd be hard for me to be a role model right now, man, because even with my 3 children, it's just, the anger is through the roof. I mean, for me to know some of the things that I know and try to do things about it, it's like I'm living in an endless spiraling tunnel of downward things that just don't seem to want to go away. I mean, even when I do stuff, it's almost like the universe sends it back at me,
Let me help you with your anger, because I also have that. I used to be very defensive because I had an abusive mother who loved and hated me, and I like you too, had a hard time being consistently, let's just say, calm and neutral with any relationship. Now I understand it better and I can control it, but I'm tempted all the time by, let's just say, low octave people who want a vaccine, who want to vote for someone and pick a side and get their protein. So here's what will help you. Now, when I go to the tarot, your number 5 is the 5-pointed star. So it is all the dimensions of the body parts. So you really want to embrace anything with 5. My apartment number is 5, dude. I teach ballet. There are 5 major positions. Maybe you look into dance, something new to distract you. So the animals that relate to number 5 are the snake and the dove. Feed birds, man. Feed birds. It's a great way to say sorry for eating and say sorry. Even if you're still eating animals, just say sorry. They can hear you. Feeding birds. Be around snakes if you can. Any kind of reptilian-looking things, spiders. Do you have any interesting stories about birds or snakes or?
Yeah, I certainly do. I don't think you want to hear them though.
Oh, I'm open, brother. As long as you're okay saying it, this is no censorship here, and no judgment.
Right, so I mean, the literal 2 things that you mentioned, I mean, those are the 2 things in recent time frame for me that I would say that I've done some terrible things, because when I moved to the land that I did in California, again, I was cannabis farming, and we had to learn about how it was out there. We came from the East Coast, so we were as green as could be. And I was all of a sudden on 10 acres that had rattlesnakes and woodpeckers and just a bunch of things happening all around me. The snakes were a very big concern for me because my kids would go outside and I literally had to watch everywhere that they stepped.
Sure.
The smart pots that I had plants in would have little baby rattlesnakes hiding inside of the straw cover. I literally was on edge every second. And I had my cats that one of them had passed away at the time. But the other one was transitioning to an outdoor cat, and there was rattlesnakes that were literally like trying to get her. All kinds of things were happening. I started to kill the rattlesnakes. I started to handle that on my own, and I started to use a bamboo pole and kill them. And that, to me, to this day, it's something that I'm not proud of, that my children witnessed and saw. And I wish that there was a higher consciousness in me to be able to call like a local guy and come pick them up or do whatever needed to be done to take them off the property.
All right, let me jump in there. Let me just jump in because, you know, this is, you've said a lot of stuff. And first of all, I'll tell you what I like about you is that you're honest. You do not have to be perfect to be awake. The truth movement and being spiritual, it just, spiritus means to breathe, people. It means to breathe. Spiritus. So if you're breathing, meaning if you have feelings for what you've done, that's called compassion, dude. That's called you're on the right path. So you're still a truther, man. And listen, it's never too late to be forgiven. For example, I was a cokehead, brother. I did cocaine. And I'm sure you probably have some interesting stories about maybe alcoholism or addiction. But back to me and cocaine, dude, I was a mess. I was a mess, man. I was abusing myself. I was lying. I was stealing. I was dangerous with my sexual energy. You know what I mean? So I am still alive. I'm suffering from tearing my ACL, car accidents, once again an abusive mother, racism, being homeless, also eating animals. I used to abuse a cat when I was a child. I used to throw it across the room and laugh when it would get hurt because my mom beat me up. See, the reason why you're struggling, man, you did not have the male balance. That's all, the yin and the yang. Neither did I. So it makes your mom have to work a bit harder to love you and give you love. But then also you're lacking that, and then you're going to be bitter, of course. So I want to jump into your stones now. In the tarot, you're number 577. It relates to Othila, Hare Krishna. Othila means focus your thoughts to attract the right energies that you need to make your dream a reality. Meaning, just say sorry to a snake, brother. You'll see them, or even if you see a worm, buddy, a worm, they're all a fly. And once again, get some seeds or breadcrumbs and feed the birds. They will forgive you, guy. God forgave me. The minute I was a drug addict, I could have died. I don't know, God could say, okay, I'm done with you, man, because you've lost your way. I was in my 20s. I'm 45. I am a miracle, and so are you. Now I'm going to keep going on with this thing because I want to build more on your number 5. Your number 5 relates to the letter O. Do you know anyone with a name that begins with an O? Or does that letter O mean anything to you?
Not off the top of my head. I'm sure there is a connection, but at the moment I'm a little scattered. But I really don't know anything off the top.
Nice. Well, I would say it relates to the halo, which is what you achieve when you fully balance yourself. Halo in etymology means a lump of salt over your head. Any head issues?
Yeah, man. I've been experiencing the most crazy headaches for about 4 or 5 years now that I've tried to figure out why they're happening. It's incredible.
Your O is the symbol of your head. Your face is an oval. You see how it works? See,
yeah, man.
Everything is related and conscious to you. Now, the herbs you want to use to help heal with your anger and maybe your guilt. Your herb is clover. Clover is perfect, so you might want to write that down if you can. You don't have to. I'll share this video, and I'll give it to you. Your gemstone is ruby, like Ruby Tuesdays that give you GMO. Right, wasn't that a Rolling Stones song? Ruby Tuesday. It's inverted Venus and them trying to promote a satanic version of lust. But your stars go both ways. Repeat. The star systems are not only good, they will support Freemasonic, Satanists, Saturnians the other way. So we must go the other way or be in the middle. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Of course it does. Now your tree is hawthorn, but you can go around any tree. So go around a tree and just take time for yourself, be with your children, have clove, have your ruby stones, and just say sorry to the creatures that are there to help you. Because you have a reptilian brain. And whenever you hurt the snake, right? Of course, your reptilian, your lower mind, was going to have more pain, brother. Of course. But it's never too late to reverse that. It's called scar tissue. I'm breaking it down. It's called inflammation. You injure yourself. Maybe you got into a fight with someone. Maybe even a bully can be forgiven. The bully is beating someone up. The bully gets an injury. God will heal that with ice. And that will go down. God doesn't say, you were a bully, so I'm going to burn you and I'm going to make that inflammation you got from punching that poor person. No. If the bully knows how to heal himself or herself, God or the goddess will let it happen. Yes or no?
For sure.
It's deep shit. So,
yeah,
it's already 20 minutes in, and these readings are about 20 to 25 minutes long. I'm going to let you sort of just express how you felt about the reading, and if you wanted to share any other things that you found interesting.
I totally suggest anybody does this. So, if you're watching this video, I can say that, I have been through some things on my end to where when I saw, your Father's Day video, I could tell right away that you were legit. So if anybody's like on the fence as far as wanting to do it, I would say 100% you should do it. It's definitely worth the $50. And
Awesome.
With the Jim Carrey connection, what happened to me was that I had my experience in 2003, and it literally took me a year of deciphering some of the things that were happening. And when that movie was shown we were at the Matrix, it was like 4 or 5 of my buddies, it was the Matrix 3. We saw the preview for that movie that was coming out called The Number 23. And everybody looked at me literally like, what the hell is that about? And I was a house cleaner at the time. I had my own little house cleaning business, and I'm cleaning a house. And like a day or two later, I'm just thinking about stuff, and I'm like, you know what? The guy that plays the main character in that movie is Jim Carrey, J.C. And when I looked at his spelling, it was James, and his last name was Carrey, C-A-R-R-E-Y. When you do the name and you do the amount of letters, it's the same exact. When you do Jesus Christ, it's the same exact. That, to me, was my moment where, like, when I fully accepted that there was something that was being shown to me, it was that there really was no literal Jesus, but that there was us as that story, because it literally was me kind of trying to describe in some way or another that I was that individual, but not that person, just experiencing the same things. And as soon as that happened, people were like instantly, no, you're crazy, and like, you must be on some devil shit or whatever it is. And like, that right there mimicked the stoning and the crucifying, because it literally was like, at that point I was being judged for telling people that I was a son of God. And like, ever since that moment, I mean, I've been evolving, devolving, going in both directions, but that was the spark, that was the connection. And like I said, you had mentioned Jim Carrey in the last one.
May I actually say something about Jim Carrey? But that will blow your mind. Now, I'm a dancer, actor, all that stuff. I was told that I was like Jim Carrey. Everyone said, hey man, you make faces like Jim Carrey. Alrighty then. I loved Jim Carrey. I'll be honest. I was always using my face like this and stretching my face. Oh yeah. Living Color, I loved him in that, right? And then he started doing movies called The Mask, which is in emerald green. Emerald green is Venus's stone, people. Movies are not just movies. They are mind-altering, magical, whether it's black or white, matters not, influential spiritual things that will affect you. Hence why you should let go of your heroes. Let go of all of them. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shiva Boom Om J.H.E. and Jason and the Argonauts. Argo Navis is the boat in astrology. Are we sailing smoothly and aware of our actors? Are we aware that the earth is an anagram for theater? You're entering the theater when you open your door and go out in nature. It's an illusion. You live in rainbows. All of it's made of red, white, and blue. It's called a Taurus field. Even earth is lying to you. That's why it's called hell. So your cinema or your enema, watch me cook. Your cinema is playing with your colors. Your solar plexus. It's incredible. And they put it in a little machine? Nope. Something over our heads is doing that. And I'm going to cut it there. Thank you, Jason, again, and thank you for all those who have been supporting me recently, and thank you to Santos Benacci for allowing my page to get more energy. So, I'm going to end it there, brother.
All right, man. I really appreciate it. I hope maybe we can talk again sometime. You're like